Thank you, Ranking Member Smith, and I want to thank you again for co-hosting this forum and continuing your leadership to hold ACORN accountable for its criminal acts and abuse of taxpayers' dollars. Our two committees enjoy joint jurisdiction when it comes to ensuring that elections are fair, that our Constitution be maintained, and that government be governed by the Congress and not, in fact, determine who will be in the Congress. I regret that this forum today is necessary because, in fact, the Oversight and Judiciary Committee chairmen have refused to do the kind of oversight that should be done. The American people deserve an official hearing into ACORN. We have repeatedly asked for that and have not gotten it, so today's government-sponsored forum will again attempt to shed light on this abuse in spite of the fact that at the present time it is by definition necessarily partisan. And I repeat, necessarily partisan. We would like to have this be appropriately nonpartisan. We will show today that ACORN's corrupt behavior and the allegations which have been researched and found to be true, in fact, fly in the face of the very people they attempt to serve, or they are formed to attempt to serve. The poor will be better served when ACORN is no longer a go-to place for the poor. I encourage everyone in this country to bring us information as they know about it on ACORN. Anyone having information concerning further wrongdoings of ACORN can go to our whistleblower website at http://republicans.oversight.house.gov, or write to us or call us. The fact is, shedding light on this is the first step toward having the needy in America, those needing to renegotiate loans, those having problems maintaining their housing, and in fact, those who would like to register and take advantage of their rights as citizen, to get it from organizations that will not be tainted by political ambition for one party. We are grateful for the documents we have with us today, over 50,000 pages provided from California, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Louisiana. My staffs tell me that, in fact, these documents are likely only the tip of the iceberg, but page after page of this evidence show that ACORN officials have abused taxpayer and charitable donation to enrich themselves and led to lavish lifestyle in sharp contrast with those of the Americans ACORN purports to help. When other top ACORN officials discovered an embezzlement, instead of acting to hold those involved fully accountable and pressing criminal charges, these ACORN officials covered up the wrongdoing. Evidence also indicates that ACORN engages in illegal partisan activities designed to help individual Democratic members, both in the primary and the general. This goes from city councilmen to state assemblymen all the way to President Barack Obama. Rather than using taxpayer grants to help the poor communities of whom ACORN was organized, the fact is it has enriched themselves, and this criminal organization can only be described today as a political machine. Because light was shed on ACORN's many misdeeds, including videos of numerous ACORN employees in locations across the country who advised two youths posing as a pimp and a prostitute on how to engage in illegal activities, on September 14th, the Senate voted to cut funding to ACORN. Days later, the House did the same. More importantly, on September 24th, 2009, Congress passed and the President signed a continuing appropriations resolution that banned federal funds to ACORN. Several state legislatures have done the same. While Americans were enjoying their Thanksgiving holidays with family and friends, they learned that the Obama administration had released an opinion designed to overturn the very law Congress passed and the President signed that intended to cut off federal funding to ACORN. This decision raises obvious questions that, that now deserve an answer. Is this Barack Obama's payback to the political machine that helped get him elected? Did the president sign in good faith a law and attempt to adhere to it, or is he trying to circumvent his own signature? ACORN has received money from HUD and several banks and foundations, some of the largest banks in America, including those who received TARP money. Congress was clear. All federal agencies were to immediately suspend their contract with ACORN, even ones that with pre-existing obligations. Now the Office of Legal Counsel at the Department of Justice has told HUD that it can honor those contracts. As a result, ACORN will continue to receive taxpayer funding. Before we begin, let me briefly go over a few conclusions that our investigations, beginning in January, leading to a publication in July, and supplementals since that time have discovered. First of all, ACORN makes $48 million a year from its membership dues. Today we will hear how those dues are received and how often they do not properly reflect what most people would consider to be membership. Prior to the Justice Department's decision to partially restore federal funding, ACORN was financially bankrupt and had begun closing its offices nationwide. ACORN is currently in the process of changing its name and has already transferred resources to several chapters of the Service Employees International Union, and possibly to Data and Field Services, the Working Families Party, Changing to Win, and the Council on Unity. These organizations, less well known than Service Employees International, they no less reflect ACORN's attempt to survive and prosper in its political ambition. ACORN's own training manual reflects a business model in which money is taken from poor people and funneled to partisan political efforts. ACORN corporations lack firewalls. They blend tax-exempt and taxable and political activities as though they were one. ACORN's own internal audits reveal severe abuse of tax-exempt and taxable accounts. ACORN creates and shares with its tax-exempt affiliates data targeting state and federal representatives' districts to ensure votes for Democrats. ACORN has voter registration materials that specifically instruct members to tell people to vote for Barack Obama for president. ACORN has mishandled the personal financial information of its members and those it serves, putting them at great risk for identity theft. The purpose of this forum is to explore the scope of ACORN's misdeeds, the organization's possible next steps, and the degree of concern that every American should have that the current administration is fast becoming, in reality, the war room for ACORN's political machine. Why have Democrats not investigated this group? Why did the Department of Justice approve the furtherance of taxpayer funds to ACORN? Why have the President and his administration continued to dismiss growing concern about ACORN's criminal acts as a distraction, and that he, the President, has not followed it closely? Perhaps the American people have received answers to these important questions because ACORN, in addition to being a criminal enterprise, is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Democratic Party. Nearly 2 decades ago, the American people were told by another Democratic president that the era of big government was over. Well, we now know that the era of big government wasn't over with President Clinton's administration. Today, we are witness to an era of big and bad government with the Obama administration, its Chicago-style tactics, and its cozy relationship with those who defraud the American people. I am concerned that the era of corruption, propagated by ACORN and protected by the White House, is just beginning. The federal government has a duty to ensure that corrupt organizations are not given the power to disenfranchise our citizens and threaten our liberty. I look forward to our witnesses, and I certainly hope that today's forum will be the beginning of a wake-up call to the majority to hold real hearings and real oversight. And I thank the gentleman.